2026 is not just another year, it is a divine reset. What was delayed will be released, what was blocked will be shaken loose, and what was broken will be restored. Heaven is realigning health, finances, and spiritual favor. But only those who understand this shift will step into it. This message is a wake-up call for anyone who feels the pressure of transition and senses that God is about to move in an unusual way. There are moments in time when heaven does not simply bless, it resets. 2026 is not an extension of the past. It is not a continuation of old struggles, delayed promises, or unfinished cycles. It is a divine interruption. A spiritual reset where what once defined life no longer has permission to follow you forward. A reset is different from improvement. Improvement fixes what is broken. A reset replaces the entire system. And that is exactly what is unfolding. What failed before is not being repaired. It is being removed. What drained energy is being disconnected. What confused direction is being silenced. For many, the last few years felt like pushing against invisible resistance. Effort was high, but results were limited. Prayers were sincere, but answers felt delayed. This was not rejection. It was preparation. Heaven was waiting for the appointed moment to realign everything at once. In 2026, old spiritual seasons officially expire. Patterns that repeated year after year lose their authority. The same problems will not have the same power. The same fears will not have the same voice. The same limitations will not have the same hold. A divine reset begins internally before it becomes visible externally. First comes clarity, confusion lifts, decisions become sharper, the noise quiets, and discernment strengthens. You begin to recognize what no longer fits, and instead of fighting to keep it, you finally release it. This year brings a clean spiritual slate, but not everyone experiences it the same way. A reset requires surrender. You cannot carry old mindsets into a new structure. You cannot cling to expired identities and expect fresh outcomes. The reset demands honesty about habits, motives, relationships, and direction. Some doors will close without explanation. This is not loss. This is mercy. What would have drained you in the next season is being removed now. Some plans will fall apart suddenly. This is not failure. This is alignment. Heaven is protecting you from building on the wrong foundation. In a divine reset, speed increases. Once alignment happens, movement follows quickly. Delays that once took years to break will collapse in months. Answers that felt distant will arrive suddenly. Opportunities will appear where there was once resistance. But the reset also carries responsibility. You are not entering a season of chaos. You are entering a season of order. Structure matters now. Discipline matters now. Obedience matters now. The reset is not about comfort. It is about positioning. This is the year to stop negotiating with what you already know needs to change. Half obedience will not work in a reset season. Partial surrender will not produce full results. The more willingly you align, the smoother the transition becomes. Heaven is recalibrating destinies. Assignments that were paused are resuming. Callings that were dormant are reactivating. You are not starting over, you are starting correctly. This is not a year of surface healing. It is a year of root restoration. Many people have tried to manage symptoms while the source remained untouched. They treated exhaustion but ignored emotional weight. They addressed physical weakness but carried unresolved stress. They prayed for relief while remaining in environments that drained life. In 2026, healing goes deeper. True health is alignment, body, mind, and spirit functioning together. When one is neglected, the others suffer. Heaven is not interested in temporary relief. It is releasing lasting restoration. For some, health challenges were not random. They were signals. Warnings that something was out of balance, pace. pressure, purpose, or peace. This year brings awareness. You will recognize what your body has been trying to communicate. Root healing begins with rest, not inactivity, but intentional restoration. The constant state of survival ends here. You are not designed to live under permanent pressure. Stress that was normalized is being exposed as destructive. Emotional healing is a major gateway in 2026. Unresolved pain weakens the body. Suppressed grief drains strength. Lingering bitterness disrupts peace. Healing requires release, not denial, not avoidance, but honest confrontation. Forgiveness becomes medicine. Letting go becomes therapy. Peace becomes protection. This year invites you to change how you treat yourself. Overworking will no longer feel productive. Ignoring boundaries will feel costly. Your body will demand respect, and wisdom will finally agree. Healing at the root also means breaking generational patterns. Some issues did not start with you, but they can end with you. Cycles of stress, poor health habits, and emotional suppression are being interrupted. The body responds when the spirit is at peace. Sleep improves when anxiety releases. Strength returns when the mind is not overloaded. Vitality increases when life is lived in alignment rather than resistance. This is not about fear, it is about stewardship. Your body is not an obstacle to your purpose, it is the vessel for it. In 2026, neglect is replaced with care. Awareness replaces ignorance. Balance replaces burnout. Some will experience sudden improvement. Others will notice gradual strengthening. Both are signs of restoration at work. The key is consistency. Small adjustments produce lasting change. Listen closely this year. Pay attention to signals. Honor limits. Choose nourishment over depletion, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Health restored at the root creates momentum in every other area of life. When strength returns, clarity follows. When peace settles, decision-making improves. When energy is restored, purpose advances. This is not just healing, it is renewal. 2026 is the year your foundation becomes strong enough to carry what is coming next. For far too long, many have believed that money comes through endless effort, sacrifice, and struggle. They have been taught to hustle until exhaustion, to sacrifice health, relationships, and peace for the illusion of financial security. But 2026 is a year where this mindset is being corrected. Money is no longer intended to be a source of endless pressure. It is a reflection of alignment, purpose, and wisdom. Wealth is not about how hard you work, it is about how wisely you position yourself. Struggle does not equal success. Exhaustion does not equal blessing. In fact, unaligned effort often leads to loss, confusion, and disappointment. Heaven is resetting the way resources flow. Those who seek alignment will see doors open that have been closed for years. Alignment begins with vision. Knowing your purpose and understanding the value you bring sets the stage for financial breakthrough. Money is not random. It follows the direction of your calling. When you are moving according to divine timing, resources naturally catch up. Opportunities appear where they were once invisible. Collaborations emerge where isolation once ruled. The key in 2026 is clarity. Clarity of purpose clears the fog of uncertainty. Clarity of action eliminates wasted effort. Clarity of heart attracts favor. People who were previously invisible in their industry or community will now be recognized. Opportunities that required waiting and persistence will now come with ease. This year also calls for intentional stewardship. Alignment does not mean reckless indulgence, it means responsible management. The same resources that were previously mismanaged or overlooked can now become abundant tools for growth. Discipline in spending, saving, and investing aligns with divine timing and opens the path for sustainable wealth. Importantly, 2026 is exposing the difference between temporary gains and lasting provision. Money acquired through force, manipulation, or compromise may appear, but it will not last. True abundance comes when resources are aligned with purpose, integrity, and divine order. This is a year where those who prioritize alignment over struggle will experience exponential increase. Many will notice sudden openings in unexpected places, a promotion, a business opportunity, a financial breakthrough that seems almost too good to be true. These are not coincidences. They are signs of a system in motion, a reset in which favor replaces force and alignment replaces relentless struggle. But alignment is not passive. It requires action, patience, and wisdom. It requires discernment to know when to move and when to wait. Financial breakthrough in 2026 is not about frantic chasing. It is about strategic positioning. The steps you take this year must reflect vision and purpose, not fear or desperation. Some will experience rapid financial expansion, others will notice gradual improvement. Both are part of the same pattern. The key is to remain faithful to principle rather than reaction. Consistent alignment produces lasting wealth, while unaligned hustle produces temporary results and long-term exhaustion. The second major force shaping 2026 is revelation. Hidden blocks, those unseen forces that have silently delayed progress, are being exposed. What was invisible will now become clear. What was subtle will now be undeniable. The obstacles that have silently held back health, finances, and personal growth are no longer allowed to remain hidden. For many, life has been a series of repeated frustrations. Doors that seemed to open only to close again. Opportunities that appeared only to vanish. Success that felt within reach only to retreat. These were not coincidences. These were hidden blocks, spiritual, emotional, or mental patterns that quietly controlled outcomes. 2026 will bring clarity. Patterns of limitation that have been ignored or unseen will now surface. This may manifest as uncomfortable truths about relationships, habits, self-perception, or decisions that have shaped the past. But revelation is mercy. It is an invitation to remove what no longer serves your growth. The same forces that delayed progress are now being unmasked so they can be overcome. Many hidden blocks exist in the mind. Limiting beliefs about worthiness, ability, or purpose have quietly governed choices for years. The belief that "I am not enough" or "things never work out for me" can sabotage opportunities before they fully arrive. 2026 calls for conscious awareness of these mental patterns. Recognition is the first step toward removal. Other blocks are relational. Toxic environments, unsupportive people, or manipulative influences can subtly drain energy, creativity, and motivation. Some relationships have been invisible chains, tying potential to stagnation. The exposure of these blocks allows freedom. Boundaries that were ignored must now be enforced. Spaces that were compromised must now be protected. Financial and professional blocks are also being revealed. Repeated failures, missed opportunities, or unexplained stagnation are not random. They are signals of systemic blocks. These may involve habits, poor decisions, or spiritual misalignment. Whatever the source, clarity in 2026 exposes the root, providing the path to breakthrough. The exposure of hidden blocks can feel uncomfortable. There may be moments of frustration, realization, or even grief as patterns are recognized. But discomfort is temporary, freedom is lasting. This year, no block can remain in the shadows. Every unseen chain is being brought to light so it can be removed. As these blocks are exposed, the key is action. Revelation alone is not enough. Awareness must lead to change. Patterns must be broken. Habits must be corrected. Misaligned relationships must be addressed. 2026 does not delay correction, it accelerates removal. The longer you ignore the signs, the more urgent the correction becomes. There is also a spiritual dimension to these hidden blocks. Some obstacles are not just circumstantial. They are spiritual. Repeated delays, unexplained setbacks, and continuous opposition often indicate forces operating beyond the visible realm. The exposure of these forces is the first step in reclaiming authority and freedom. 2026 empowers you to identify and remove these blocks decisively. What was once hidden is now visible. What was silent now speaks, and what was subtle now cannot be ignored. This year offers the opportunity to break generational, emotional, and spiritual chains that have silently dictated outcomes for years. Ultimately, the exposure of hidden blocks is not punishment, it is preparation. The blocks have served their purpose by teaching lessons, testing endurance, and strengthening resolve. But 2026 signals a new chapter, one in which freedom replaces restriction and clarity replaces confusion. When hidden blocks are removed, progress becomes inevitable. Health improves because mental and emotional burdens are lifted. Finances increase because obstacles are cleared. Purpose is fulfilled because chains are broken. The momentum that has been held back for years is finally released. This year, revelation is not optional, it is necessary. The forces that held back success, peace, and fulfillment cannot remain unseen. 2026 forces the unseen into the light so that it can no longer influence the path forward. What is exposed can be conquered. What is revealed can be transformed. What is seen can be overcome. For far too long, many have believed that success, progress, or breakthrough comes from force. They pushed, struggled, and tried to control outcomes with sheer effort. They assumed that the harder they worked, the faster doors would open. Yet 2026 is revealing a divine truth: favor replaces force. Favor is not earned by striving or demanding. It is a force that works in harmony with alignment, integrity, and readiness. It operates quietly but powerfully, creating opportunities that cannot be manufactured by effort alone. When favor is at work, doors open without struggle. Paths appear where obstacles once stood. Influence flows where resistance once dominated. In the past, force often led to exhaustion. People sacrificed health, peace, and relationships, thinking that relentless effort was the only route to progress. The result was fatigue, frustration, and temporary gains that quickly disappeared. But favor moves differently. It does not deplete energy, it multiplies it. It does not compete, it attracts. It does not fight, it aligns. This year, favor will act as a supernatural accelerator. Opportunities will appear unexpectedly. Support will arrive from unexpected sources. Resources will be made available in ways that seem improbable to the natural mind. What once required years of struggle may now come in months or even weeks. Favor works in three dimensions: timing, influence, and provision. Timing ensures that things happen at exactly the right moment. Influence ensures that the right people are present, guiding and opening doors. Provision ensures that the necessary resources, financial, emotional, or spiritual, are supplied without manipulation or stress. Those who have relied on force will now experience the freedom of divine favor. Tasks that were laborious will now proceed with ease. Challenges that seemed insurmountable will now have solutions. Relationships that were difficult will now flourish. The unseen hand of guidance is working in subtle yet undeniable ways. Favor is also protective. It shields from unnecessary conflict, delays, and loss. Situations that previously caused repeated setbacks will now be redirected, smoothed, or removed entirely. What once required relentless effort will now respond to the natural flow of opportunity. However, favor requires readiness. It cannot be forced, bought, or manipulated. It requires integrity, alignment, and humility. Doors will open to those prepared to walk through them wisely. Those unwilling to adjust, adapt, or align may still face delay regardless of prior effort. Favor is powerful, but it must meet readiness. This year, the replacement of force with favor will be evident in all areas: relationships, finances, health, career, and spiritual advancement. The same energy once spent in struggle will now be redirected toward purpose-driven action. The same effort once wasted on resistance will now produce exponential results. Favor also inspires gratitude. Unlike force, which demands and exhausts, favor invites awareness, acknowledgement, and humility. Those who recognize it will walk in peace, joy, and confidence. They will understand that success is no longer a product of sheer effort, but a partnership with divine timing, guidance, and alignment. 2026 is a year where favor accelerates breakthrough, removes unnecessary barriers, and opens doors that were previously unreachable. The struggle that defined the past is fading. In its place is opportunity, alignment, and divine momentum. Those who embrace this principle will find their lives transformed not by force, but by favor. Alongside favor comes another extraordinary truth. Spiritual authority is being returned. Many have walked in seasons where their influence, confidence, and ability to lead seemed diminished. Decisions felt heavy. Paths seemed unclear. Control over personal circumstances seemed beyond reach. But 2026 is a year of restoration. Authority is more than leadership or influence. It is the ability to discern truth, act decisively, and carry weight in areas of responsibility. It is the confidence to make choices without hesitation, knowing the outcomes are aligned with divine timing and purpose. This year, that authority, once weakened or dormant, is being restored. Restoration begins internally. Confidence is renewed. Clarity is restored. Insight returns. Decisions that were once paralyzed by fear or doubt are now made with precision. Understanding replaces confusion. Boldness replaces hesitation. Spiritual authority is not imposed, it is reclaimed through alignment and readiness. This restoration also manifests externally. Influence over relationships, workplaces, and communities is returning. People who felt unseen or unheard are now recognized. Those who were overlooked are stepping into positions where their voice carries weight. Influence is no longer a struggle. It flows naturally from alignment, integrity, and wisdom. Authority extends beyond the natural realm. Long-standing obstacles, generational restrictions, and cycles of limitation that once dictated outcomes are now within reach to overcome. The ability to reclaim what has been lost spiritually, emotionally, and mentally is now available. 2026 removes the chains that previously bound growth. Decisions made under this restored authority have lasting impact. This is not a time for careless action. Authority is accompanied by responsibility. Choices carry weight, and missteps may have consequences. Wisdom, discernment, and integrity are essential companions to restored power. The restoration of authority also restores confidence. Fear, uncertainty, and doubt lose their grip. Internal clarity produces external movement. Opportunities that were previously blocked are now accessible. What was once beyond reach is now within grasp, and the ability to navigate life with purpose is strengthened. Many will notice sudden shifts. A single decision, a timely action, or a moment of clarity can restore influence that has been absent for years. Tools, insight, and understanding needed to exercise authority are being provided. Those prepared to receive them will step into levels of influence previously unattainable. This authority is both spiritual and practical. Spiritually, it allows for discernment in navigating unseen forces, relationships, and obstacles. Practically, it enables leadership, management, and execution in everyday life. Both dimensions converge in 2026, creating a season of unprecedented empowerment. Authority is also protective. It shields against unnecessary mistakes, unwise partnerships, and poor decisions. Those who walk in restored authority operate with discernment, making moves that bring long-term gain rather than short-term gratification. Finally, the restoration of authority amplifies favor. Doors open, opportunities align, and momentum builds when authority is exercised correctly. Those who combine restored authority with the favor flowing this year will experience exponential breakthrough. They will move with purpose, power, and influence without relying on force or struggle. 2026 is a year of reclaimed power, divine momentum, and decisive movement. Favor replaces force. Authority is returned. Together, these principles set the stage for breakthroughs that were previously unattainable. Those who recognize, embrace, and act in alignment with these truths will experience transformation beyond what effort alone could achieve. Growth is never accidental. Elevation is never random. In 2026, one of the most important spiritual truths is being revealed before elevation, separation must occur. What this means is that to step into a higher season of life, there are things, people, and patterns that must be released. Nothing new can enter fully until space is made for it. Separation is often misunderstood. Many fear it, seeing it as loss, rejection, or isolation. Yet in reality, separation is preparation. It is the clearing of what no longer serves your purpose so that the next season can flourish unimpeded. Elevation cannot coexist with stagnation. Growth cannot happen when old energy, habits, or attachments occupy the space meant for new opportunities. In 2026, separation may manifest in different ways. Some may find that relationships that were once familiar no longer align with their destiny. Some may realize that old habits, routines, or mindsets are holding them back from moving forward. Even physical or professional environments may reveal themselves as incompatible with the life that is coming. The process can feel uncomfortable. Comfort zones, no matter how safe, become chains when growth is required. What once offered security may now be the very thing preventing advancement. Separation requires courage, the courage to acknowledge that what has been familiar may not belong in the elevated season ahead. Separation is also a spiritual principle. Many invisible chains, emotional, mental, or spiritual, resist growth without us even realizing it. Attachments to fear, doubt, resentment, or even overdependence on others can limit progress. In 2026, these hidden forces are being exposed, giving the opportunity to release what has silently restricted success. It is important to recognize that separation is not always permanent. Some relationships or circumstances may return in the right context, renewed and elevated. Others are meant to be released entirely. The key is discernment, being able to differentiate between what must go and what can remain in alignment with the next season. Separation is ultimately liberating. As old energy is removed, space is created for clarity, opportunity, and momentum. The energy once spent on maintaining unproductive patterns can now be redirected toward growth, purpose, and destiny. What feels like loss is actually preparation for breakthrough after alignment. After preparation, after separation comes visible blessing. 2026 is marking a new season where blessings are not hidden, delayed, or abstract, they are visible. The work done internally, the obstacles removed, and the authority restored all culminate in outcomes that can be seen, felt, and experienced tangibly. Visibility matters. Blessing is not always about private victories. It is about manifest results that reflect the work, faith, and alignment that have been invested. This year, health improves, finances stabilize, relationships flourish, and purpose begins to produce measurable results. The blessing is no longer only spiritual, it becomes practical and tangible. Visible blessing is often the fruit of unseen work. The late nights, prayers, discipline, and endurance of the past years now produce clear evidence. What once required patience and trust now produces results that are unmistakable. The invisible has become visible, and the delayed has arrived. This new season is marked by momentum. Opportunities do not appear in isolation, they compound. One breakthrough leads to another. One favor accelerates multiple doors. One alignment produces a chain reaction that reshapes life in ways that were previously unimaginable. Blessings are also holistic. In 2026, health is restored in ways that support energy and longevity. Finances are realigned to support growth rather than struggle. Relationships reflect love, respect, and mutual benefit. Spiritual favor amplifies the natural, producing a complete, visible transformation in life. It is important to recognize that visible blessing requires preparation and alignment. Nothing that has been neglected or ignored can fully manifest without being addressed. 2026 favors those who have prepared, released, and aligned. Those who attempted to shortcut the process may see delayed or partial results. The beauty of this year is that blessing is no longer hidden behind struggle. Progress comes without unnecessary conflict. Doors that were previously closed now open with ease. Opportunities appear where there was once resistance. The natural and spiritual converge to produce outcomes that can be witnessed by all. This season also reinforces faith. When blessing becomes visible, belief strengthens. The invisible reality of effort, alignment, and spiritual preparation becomes tangible proof that the process works. Confidence grows, and hope is solidified for even greater advancement in the future. Visibility also inspires influence. When blessing is seen, it becomes a testimony. Others are encouraged, motivated, and inspired to pursue alignment, preparation, and faith in their own lives. This is the amplification effect of visible blessing. It does not stop at the individual, it spreads to communities, workplaces, and families.